Well, CAF is a development bank of Latin America. We group 19 member countries of Latin America, the Caribbean, plus Spain and Portugal as part of the Iberian cultural region. We focus on sustainable development in a broad manner. We try to help our countries obtain a high quality level of economic growth based on four basic pillars, which are macroeconomic stability, microeconomic efficiency, social equity, and environmental sustainability. If we focus on environmental sustainability, there are many things that we do. We basically include the environmental and social impact of all our projects, and we also promote specific environmental projects in, say, energy efficiency or transformation of energy consumption patterns or production patterns in our member countries, energy integration to optimize the supply of energy in the Latin American region, and other energy-related activities. We also focus on the rational use of our natural capital. Latin America, as you know, is blessed with a great deal of natural resources, both renewable and non-renewable. We focus a lot on the renewable side, on the rational utilization of our forestry resources, the water resources, and the need to use these resources rationally so that they can contribute to our competitive development, but they are also preserved for future generations. Well, there's no question but that the financial sector has a significant role. We're obviously not the only player. You mentioned civil society, governments, business. We all have a role to play, but there's no question but that the financial sector in general and the official financial sector, which includes development banks, as is the case of CAF in particular, have an important catalytic role to play. There are enormous amounts of resources, financial resources in the world that are not necessarily available for development and for sustainable development purposes where they are most needed. And part of the role of the financial sector, both private and public financial sectors, including the development financial sector, is to help channel some of these resources. I'll give you an example. For example, in Colombia in particular, there are an awful lot of savings in the pension mechanisms that are established. Now, these savings could not be used to finance, say, sustainable infrastructure development in Colombia because of legal regulations and because the savings mechanisms were not prepared, were not necessarily capable of channeling these resources to the Colombian government's public-private initiatives to develop sustainable infrastructure. We have created a fund, CAF has generated a fund that basically allows for the catalyzation, I don't know if that's a proper word, the use of catalytic resources from these savings funds to be able to take advantage of CAF's expertise in infrastructure financing, sustainable infrastructure financing, and channel these resources for the development of the Colombian requirements. This is just a very small and very local example, if you wish, in Colombia of how the financial sector can help catalyze resources which would not have been made available for sustainable projects had we not been there. And this is, as I said, this is just one example. There are many other ways in which the financial sector, and we work both with the commercial financial sector in Latin America, and we work also with the official development banks of the Latin American countries to generate synergies that allow us to be more efficient, to leverage more our own limited financial capabilities using resources from third parties. Well, I think the SIF 15 brings together mostly private sector players into this global environmental effort to reduce global warming, etc. And we are part of that effort. And CAF is not only involved with official activities or with public sector activities, also with private sector. About 20% of our portfolio and about 40 or 50% of our approvals yearly are targeted to the private sector, in fact. And a lot of that is to the financial sector. So we have natural synergies with the financial sectors that are represented here, in this case mostly the private sector, and also with the private sector corporations that are participating in the development of Latin America. So our presence here in this forum has a lot to do with the fact that we work the whole spectrum of players that goes from governments and both at the national level and subnational levels to financial institutions, both at the private and public sector levels, to economic agents, private companies and banks, as I mentioned before, that participate in these efforts. So our presence here is related to the importance that we attach to the role of the private sector in development, in sustainable development, and in contributing to the climate challenges that we are facing in Latin America.